Welcome back to the Green Radio Network here on AM 1420, WIMS Radio. I'm Carl Lissick of South Shore Clean Cities, here to bring you the latest information on green projects and topics across the nation. Our guest today is Mr. Joe Exl. He's the Senior Water Resource Planner with the Northwestern Indiana Regional Planning Commission. Joe, we were just talking about the watersheds. And what other kinds of things as a consumer, as we prepare for warmer weather, what other things should we be educating the general public on?
Oh, beyond the lawn care, I mean, a lot of it does wind up being kind of like preventative measures for like pet owners, especially coming out of the winter. I just did it here like a weekend or two ago. After all that snow melt and so forth is picking up after our pets.
Sure.
The dogs out there. I mean, dog waste is a contributing factor to some of the high pathogen levels that we see in our streams. Once again, especially in our urban areas where we have higher densities of pets and people. For the more rural areas, those folks that do not rely on sewer service is a septic system.
Wow, yeah, that's
so,
right.
Being kind of aware, even to begin with, how your septic system functions and works. It's not one of those things where it's in the ground and forget about it. Oftentimes what winds up happening is we don't even think about something like that until we start getting backups into the house. Trust me, the situation's gone a long way, and it winds up being a potential economic hit for that resident because the septic system can cost upwards of $10,000 to replace.
Sure.
So, getting it occasionally pumped, the tank itself, and inspected it's just like owning a car or something like that. We want to maintain our cars to extend its life and economic benefits to us. The same thing is true with maintaining our septic systems.
So some of the events that you're planning for spring and summer, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about those?
Okay, yes. So spring coming up. One of the things that we're getting ready to do here in the next couple of weeks is with the warmer weather and water temperature starting to climb up a little bit, we're actually going to be hosting our first Hoosier River Watch volunteer stream monitoring program workshop of the year. We're partnering up with the Coffee Creek Watershed Conservancy, who's going to be hosting us. The workshop it filled up actually within 2 days.
Wonderful.
All my spots were filled, so I'm pretty excited about that. And a little bit later on this spring, maybe early summer, we'll probably be trying to find another opportunity to hold another one of those training workshops. The Hoosier River Watch program is great just from an education and outreach component to try to raise awareness about local water quality issues. But by having volunteers kind of going through the program and training them, that they can actually go out and help us collect very important water quality information. Basically, what it comes down to is the state does not have enough resources to go out and monitor every single mile of stream within the state. So oftentimes, volunteers might be some of the first boots on the ground in some of these streams. Hoosier River Watch is now part of the Department of Environmental Management, so they can pull information from their online database that volunteers can submit their data to, and they can see where some of those problematic areas are and direct some of their resources later on when they're doing their own professional monitoring to go out and maybe hit some of those problem sites.
Yeah, a lot of information, Joe. Again, I know a lot of this is on your website, but do you anticipate, as you talk to these volunteers, who are some of these volunteers? I mean, are they companies? Are they individuals, just interested parties that are trying to do the right things for our communities?
Yeah, it's an interesting spectrum of folks that are involved in it. I get folks coming in college, students that might be involved in like environmental type programs. I get a lot of teachers like grade school, middle school, and high school that want to incorporate some of the program elements into their curriculum. And I get some folks that are just interested in nature or what's going on within their neighborhood. On occasion, I'll get some folks that, might be coming from like industry or something like that.
Sure. So, I know we're celebrating our 100-year anniversary at the National Park Service. Let's talk a little bit about that. How is NIRPC and your group involved with, planning for some of the endeavors that are coming up? And, I think a lot of times, one thing we're not known for a lot of times is, as you mentioned earlier in our show, is working together.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're seeing this as a partner to NIRPC, is with the hundreds of partners that we are working together, and getting that word out. And again, I think that's one of the topics of this radio show, is that we are trying to provide this education just to let people know that our area, Northwest Indiana, Northern Indiana, is working collectively together.
And I think kind of what our role in it is, because we're not like landowners or anything, is kind of working with them to kind of promote everything that has been happening, telling the story of the region, all the land that has been protected, the restoration that has happened over the years and will continue to happen. I mean, we're heading in a great direction.
That's wonderful. Is there a model that we follow? I know we're unique. Northwest Indiana is a little unique, but if there was a model that folks, to make our area the best that it can be, is there a model that we follow?
That's an interesting question. I think we're all constantly looking out there to see what we can fit or mold, some models that might be out there, maybe not taking it on as a whole, but just kind of picking and choosing to fit our environment, our groups. It's just kind of a pick and choose.
Sure.
It's kind of like an a la carte.
Well, and again, I think we appreciate all the great work that you're doing. I think this was a new topic just maybe 3 or 4 years ago with NIRPC, and you coming on into this position, and we've seen all the change that's already occurred, and all the exciting events and projects that are moving forward, and I think people like when good things are happening in their backyard, and again, this is something that is great for the future of Northwest Indiana.
Absolutely.
So congratulations on everything that you're doing and will continue to do. Any closing thoughts?
None of this work happens without partners. It's not something that NIRPC can do on its own. It takes a lot of people, and making sure that we take a moment to kind of celebrate our successes out there, just share the story with everybody.
Sure. And Joe, thank you again for being on the Green Radio Network. And that will do it for today's edition. Please be sure to join us again on the WIMS Radio and Girard Media for the next edition of the Green Radio Network, and visit us online at southshore clean cities.org. Thanks again for joining us, and remember, it's begin your environmental legacy.